Good morning and welcome to Sports on Loveworld. With me this morning is Manny and Chisholm. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good week?
Very good week.
Well, this week we've got a lot on the sports show for you. We're going to be talking about the title contenders, as well as talking about the FIFA Ballon d'Or, and more importantly, it's January and of course it's transfer time. We're going to be getting onto those things. Now, to get us underway, we are going to be asking you at home, who is going to win the title this year? Many hopefuls. Will it be Arsenal, Manchester City? Will it be Watford? Or will it be Tottenham? Tell us. Or Aston Villa. I mean, they're the strugglers. We're not talking about the relegation race this year, but we're talking about the unlikely candidates that have surfaced in this year's title contention. Now, to start us off, we're going to hear, firstly, from the team that's at the top of the Premier League, Arsenal, of course. We're going to hear what Arsenal had to say when they signed up their latest signing. Is it beefing up their chances? Watch and see, and the numbers are going to be open. The phone lines are going to be open straight after this clip. Well, you heard about Arsenal's latest signing, El Nene from Basel. Surprise, I mean, this is a new Arsene Wenger that we're seeing. Never really want to sign in January, never really want to sign anything at all. And all of a sudden, he's signing in January. He's promised that there's going to be a lot of activity. Does this mean that he's really buffering himself up and beefing himself and getting himself ready for the title challenge, Manny?
At the moment, he didn't have a choice but to sign a player, really, to be honest, because Arsenal's injury list is just amazing. Now, you look at it, Thomas Rosicky, Alexis Sanchez, Jack Wilshere, you've got Santa Cazorla and Welbeck out. He needed to add a player to it, and Arsene Wenger's got a bargain, hasn't he? Gone to Basel, got another, French-speaking player. I know he's Egyptian, but he's familiar with the Arsenal setup because he's the Arsenal style of player, a defensive midfielder to help him defensively.
And is that where they were lacking, Chisholm? I mean, he's gone for the defensive midfield. Is that where the gap was?
I think it's an open secret that Arsenal are not really what they should be in the defence, and that's something that's really been tripping them up in the Champions League, in the Premier League a lot. And the position that they're at now, being top of the league, I think Arsene Wenger, he's definitely bowed to some kind of pressure, maybe on top or at the bottom from the fans, to sign the kind of players that everyone's demanding. The defensive midfielder that he signed, to be honest with you, I haven't seen him play too tough to say that is he the right man for Arsenal. Because Arsenal, they already have quite a lot of depth. And some of their injury woes have been alleviated with the return of Wilshere. I think Danny Welbeck is back as well in training.
Wilshere, for how long?
Let's just hope he stops smoking. Wilshere, because as a professional footballer at that stage, you have to keep on top of everything.
Get your act right.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly,
now, viewers at home, I mean, Chisholm and Manny both feel that he's done some strengthening at the back. We obviously, I mean, this guy, yes, we know that Arsene Wenger brings relatively unknowns up front, and they get to manifest and become wonderful players. And are we going to see this guy metamorphose into an Arsenal great? Is he going to help them win the title challenge? That's the question we're posing to you this morning. Do give us a ring. The number's on the screen. Let us know. The phone lines are open. We want to hear your views. Who do you want to see at the top of the tree at the end of this season? We're edging close to it. We've gone past the halfway mark, and now some of them can smell the title. Now, who's smelling the title and who's going to get it? Do let us know. We're out there waiting for your answers. Now, in terms of one of the other things that people have said about Arsenal, they've talked about signing a striker. There have been cries for a striker. I know through the summer, Arsenal fans were expecting a striker. Giroud's coming good, but he's not the best there is. They're wanting a more prolific striker. They're wanting somebody who's just going to bang them in, and Sanchez is off. Do you think that he should really be thinking of signing a striker in the January window?
I don't think he needs a striker. I don't think he needs to sign another striker.
Where are the goals going to come from? I mean, we know that Giroud is netting them in right now. But should something happen to him, Theo is injury prone. Is he not leaving himself a bit open?
You know, I see Arsenal Wenger in a way moving towards the Bayern kind of play. You know, where anyone can score. Because, you know, we see it quite a lot of times.
That's been the Arsenal way, yes.
Yeah, yes. But so I think they do need a striker, but Arsene Wenger's type of management is one that depends a lot on loyalty, and you don't get loyalty from your players by in a way replacing them any chance you get.
He's not replacing. He's just strengthening and expanding the squad.
Yeah.
If we look at, I mean, one of the things that we knew, I think a lot of us thought was going to happen sooner or later, is Alexis Sanchez. He had a fantastic season last year. Most of the goals came from him, and this season he's got injured. We don't know how long for. You know, he could be out. An obvious miss, and of course Santi Cazorla, and those two in the middle were doing wonders. And Arsenal doesn't have them. Can Arsenal hold it together until those two come back, or do they need to be replacing some of the magic that was going on when those two were on?
You know, I think that's what El Neni's supposed to do. Maybe he's supposed to come in and, you know, add a little bit of spark to what Arsenal are currently doing. But I still feel that he needs to make use of the players he currently has, even the youth team as well. But, you know, going out there and signing a bunch of players, you don't want him to do a Manchester United and spend, how much did they spend last year?
250 million.
50 million, yes.
You don't want to do that, because Arsenal, you know, they are in a good financial position, but it would be so out of character for Arsene Wenger, someone who studied economics, to just go out there and you know, spend money without making use of what he has at home. Do you know what I mean? So
Arsenal have depth in the squad. Regardless of all the players they have out, they still got good quality players. I mean, against Liverpool, they made two valuable substitutions, took off Theo Walcott, brought on Oxlade-Chamberlain. They still got players there on a bench that can still come on and make a difference in the team.
But then it's also the other worry that people have, I suppose, with Arsenal, is that of consistency. Arsenal will do wonders one day, and then, I mean, there's one thing that has just been an anomaly with them all season: the Southampton, you know, beating. That was, I mean, that was out of the blue. And it could be explained. They'd had a good match before. They did wonders straight after. We just need to take a caller. Good morning, you're on Loveworld TV. Good morning, you're on Loveworld TV. Good morning, you're on Loveworld TV.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you coming from? Good morning. Where are you calling from? I think we may have a bit of feedback and may have lost that caller. Do try and ring us. The number is on the screen. We want to hear from you. Tell us what your views are. We're not only talking Arsenal. Who do you think is going to be a title contender? And in doing so, we're going to wrap up on Arsenal and move on to the next, of course. Right now, they're not the only ones at the top of the tree. They're joint tied with Leicester. Yeah. So we're going to be talking Leicester at the moment. I mean, Ranieri has been a revelation, hasn't he?
I mean, it's a massive contrast to last year. Last year, they were sitting at the bottom of the table for so long. And this year, they are at the top of the table. They just won't go away. I mean, it's odd to be talking about Premier League title contenders and talking about Leicester.
It's really, really, I mean, you just think something has happened. It looks like the table's flipped, you know, backwards. Something's not right somehow. It's just seeing Arsenal at the top there. I mean, going back to Arsenal before we jump on to Leicester, there's a worry that Arsenal were at the top for so long. You know, in the last season, they were there for so long, for almost 28 games. They were at the top, and then they just lost it last minute. And it's that ability for Arsenal to hold on until the end. Do they have it? Do they have the nerve to push, to win rough, and to win ugly?
I don't think they do. I don't think they do. I mean, it's evident from last week's game against Liverpool. With 3 minutes to go, they had 3 points in the bag. Arsenal should have defended. They should have defended better in taking the 3 points, and I don't think they can do it week in, week out in the next 16 games to go. They I don't think they will be able to scrape through and get their ugly wins and get the narrow wins to be able to get a title.
You know,
And then Chisholm,
yeah,
yes.
I think when it comes to winning the Premier League title, obviously there's a lot of hard work and skill involved in it, but then there's also some kind of luck involved in it. And at the moment, I think Arsenal, if they play their cards right, they will definitely be able to win it, because the competition in the Premier League now this season especially is quite widespread. You know, you have the likes of Leicester, or West Ham, Stoke City so far up. So you know, it seems like the big boys, the ones who are supposed to be competing with Arsenal, are not really doing their job. So that's in a way a luck that Arsenal should capitalise on if they want to win it. If they don't win it this year, boy, we'll have to wait another 10 years for them to be in this position.
They have a good chance to win it this year. They have a good chance to win it this year.
We're going to move on to Leicester, because obviously we have to talk about Leicester. These are the surprise title contenders. I'm sure most of us have sat there and thought, oh my God, what's happening? And as we said earlier on, are we seeing the Premier League table being sort of flipped upside down? Leicester were relegation contenders last year, and all of a sudden they're sitting at the top of the tree, joint top with Arsenal, and have been that way for quite some time. Let's hear what Ranieri had to say concerning the title. Well, you have to love him. You just have to love Claudio Ranieri. Such a revelation and such an inspiration to, I think, a lot of managers around, about how he's turned a club that was struggling last year for, you know, in the relegation zone. They didn't know whether they'd have a future in the Premier League, and they've, you know, made sure that they've silenced all doubters all season. People thought they were going to fall away. It was just a bit of Vardy magic that was gradually going to fade, but it hasn't faded. And he's previously known as the Tinker Man, but this year he's not tinkered as much as he normally does. He's stuck to his front two, Mahrez and Vardy, and he's yielded the results.
The thing is, he found a starting 11 that works for him. I mean, Conte plays a big part in this Leicester team. He's the main engine in the middle. And Mahrez is just unpredictable. Mahrez has been unbelievable. Jamie Vardy has stepped up again this year.
Bangs them in.
He bangs them in. And it just seems like it works. And as the saying goes, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So every now and then he might make a change, you know, take Vardy off, rest Vardy, put Euro in, and just, you know, just try and make it work.
That's the way modern football works nowadays. Anyway, it's like, how many games do they play in a year? It's like
38 games. They've 38 games.
38, and then also outside
the cup games,
exactly.
and
so
we're looking about 60
you know,
games.
it's not something that, you know, no matter who you are, you can't play all those games unless you're Ronaldo. Yeah, but you know, but then the Premier League players, they tend not to be able to go such a long distance. So it's good for him to have a system in place where he knows that his B team, so to say, his B team will be able to go out there and perform the same way that the A team is doing. You know, so he's definitely doing. He's not tinkering as much, but should he need to tinker, he does it well.
And in terms of, I mean, one of the things he said in his press conference is that, you know, the players have tasted the bitterness of being at the bottom, and they've tasted the sweetness of being at the top. And we know it's not rocket science. We know where people are going to want to stay. You know, they want to stay at the top, and obviously they've tasted that bit. And Mahrez said in an interview that, you know, you score 1 or 2 goals and you get, you know, closer and closer to the top, then you start dreaming. Are Leicester going to stay in dreamland? You know, is this dream going to go on forever, or are they going to suddenly wake up to the reality of what everybody's thought they were going to be, sort of mid-term or right at the bottom?
I mean, I guess at the start of the season, Leicester's main dream was to stay in the Premier League, avoid relegation.
40 points.
And 40 points. They got 40 points out of 21 games. That's incredible. So now, statistically, they should be in a good position to get Champions League place. They should be. I mean, top come Christmas time, you're going to be in a Champions League. They need to stay injury free and maintain the good form they got. And I think they should be in for a Champions League spot. I still don't think they're going to win the league.
Okay.
That's too far-fetched for them.
So you think a Champions League spot is definitely a possibility. One of the things that was said, I mean, a lot of people said, of course, they've had this, it's been lovely, they've been dreaming away at the top, but come Christmas time, that's when we're going to know the men from the boys. And they've still carried on, they've soldiered on. The other the other team that people were talking about was Watford, and Watford seemed to have dropped down a bit, but they've stuck. They've stuck there about in the middle. They haven't gone away from the top four. They've just been there steadily, you know, pushing on and soldiering on. How far do you see them doing that? And I mean, he said Champions League place. What do you think is a realistic possibility for them?
Realistically, I like to dream. I think I can see Leicester winning it. You know what I was saying earlier about you know, to win the league, there has to be some kind of luck in it. And this season, the smaller teams, they have that luck that the bigger teams are just not performing the way they were last season. You can even see it in Manchester City. A lot of people still have Manchester City to go out there and win it. But the quality at which they're performing nowadays, the quality of play that they're playing, it's not up to the standards of last year. I think if any of the big teams are to win it, apart from Arsenal, they would win it based on pure luck. Do you know what I mean? So it's Leicester. If they keep playing the way that they're playing at the moment, I think they definitely have a good chance of winning it. It's either between them or Arsenal.
You see, I agree to what he's saying to a certain point, but also I disagree in a way, because I think City are in best position to win this league now.
We'll talk about City in a minute. Let's just finish the Leicester bit, you know, because we're going to give some dedicated time to Leicester and talk about Leicester. But in terms of that, he's talked about the fact that they're lucky. Do you think they're lucky? I mean, they've been good. They've put away the big boys very convincingly. Okay. No question about that. And that's where the big test is. You know, it's one thing to win against the fellow strugglers, but when you start silencing the big boys, then people sit up and take notice. And they've done that convincingly, without question.
I mean, the team morale is growing.
Let me answer this call. I'll get back to you, Manny. Good morning, you're on Loveworld TV.
Good morning. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Is that Osamedi?
Yes.
How are you, Osamedi?
I'm okay, thank you.
How's Ireland this morning?
Yeah, it's been horrible the last 3 days. We've been hit with frost. We can't drive on the roads. I can keep on telling you about the weather if you don't finish.
Yes, and definitely, while talking about the weather, we know that it's frozen up there. Are those positions at the top of the league going to remain frozen at that point until the end of the year, Osamedi? Are we going to see it in that order? Are we freezing it there?
I don't think Leicester can win it. I think they've got to be just targeting a fourth spot now. I think that's the best they can do. And to be honest, they may just run out of steam, because if you see the last 3 or 4 games now, you can see Vardy is not missing the chances he was putting away earlier in the season. So the pressure is beginning to tell, because it's not easy to win the league. The English league is so difficult, and I don't think they have the squad, you know, to reach the finishing line. But what they have, what is going on for them is the manager. The manager is such an experienced manager. He's like a father to them. And his influence is the reason why Leicester City are where they are. Because let's be honest, which players in Leicester? How many players in Leicester can go into the Manchester City team, can go into the Arsenal team? How many players? I don't think there's any, to be honest. So the manager is the influence that is moving Leicester City forward. I know the players have to go to the field to do it anyway.
Well, you can say that, Osamedi, but I know a few teams. I know a few teams at the top. Well, the so-called top 4, top 5 teams. That's the traditional top 5 teams who would love to have Mahrez, who would love to have Vardy scoring the goals. So it's interesting, because, as I said earlier, they did deal with the big boys and they dealt with them convincingly, without question.
Yeah, I said that those 2 players have been good. You know,
yes.
You have to do it.
And they've been playing within a team. I mean, they've been getting the service from the rest of the team, and they've been doing it consistent. I mean, we're into game 20. We're going to game 22 this weekend, and they've done that. And we thought the slip-up was going to be at Christmas, but they haven't done that.
Yeah, if Vardy, I think in the last 3 or 4 games, if Vardy have been putting the chances away, I think they probably will be 3 or 4 points ahead even, because he's missed some glorious chances as a result. They drew those games. But I just want to put it in about the English press and the pundits. I remember at the beginning of the season, I don't know if you guys remembered, Leicester City, when they asked them who is going to go down, Leicester City was always the first name that they all were mentioning. I said, what is this we're talking about? Leicester City were the best team in the last 12 games of last season. They forgot about that.
But then they were the best, Osamide, because they were fighting for their lives. If you are fighting to keep your face, you know yourself alive, you throw in everything.
Yeah, yes. You still have to do it. They forgot that Leicester City have that momentum. So we asked, okay, why do you think Leicester City will go down? They will say, oh, because of their manager, because he was a failure in Greece. You know, when he managed Greece, Ferrell defeated Greece. And so what are these people talking about? That is a different scenario. This is the Premier League. This is a team that have been doing well, and they have brought in an experienced manager to steady the ship. No, just to continue the ship, to continue the ride. Because last season, the way they finished the league, I don't think any other team in relegation have ever finished the league like that. It was so astonishing. And that is what we are seeing now. The manager have moved on, and they continue to go forward, to think that they are not in contention. You remember what he was saying? We are looking for 40 points. 40 points is our target. 40 points is our target.
That, yeah.
Now, I'm looking to the next match. You see the press conference we just shown.
Yes.
What is it? I'm thinking of Aston Villa. That's it. I'm not thinking of the other. So those things are important for those players.
One match at a time. Yes,
yeah.
Let's think of the next match. Let's not think of the bigger goal. Or how do you eat an elephant, a chunk at a time? So he's certainly eaten the chunk of the Premier League. Well, thank you so much, Osamide. Lovely to hear from you.
Bye.
Now, we're going to talk about Manchester City, which you were itching to talk about. We know that, Manchester City is full of quality, lots of stars, and they're touted as, also the contenders, currently sitting on the third behind Leicester and Arsenal. What do you think are their chances? Let's hear what Manuel Pellegrini had to say. At home, gather your thoughts. We want to hear what you think Manchester City's chances are, or, if they have any chances at all. Do give us a ring. The lines are going to be open straight after we hear what Pellegrini had to say. Well, we're waiting to hear what Pellegrini had to say. He was obviously concerned about the injury worries that he had in his team. Quite a few, and significantly, company. We see that they are missing company. It's quite obvious. How do they get over that company hurdle? We don't know when company is going to be back, as it's obviously been very publicized about his injury. How do they get over that hurdle without him?
They've still got 3 quality defenders. They've still got the Michaelis, they got...
Let's hear from someone at home. I'll get back to you, Manu. Good morning, you're on Loveworld TV.
Contribution with respect to the discussion.
Oh, yes, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kingsley. I'm calling from Aberdeen, Scotland.
Good morning, Kingsley.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts this morning?
My thoughts is with respect to the Premiership. I believe that Man City is even though Arsenal and the Leicester are topping the league for the moment, but I don't have the confidence that they can maintain that momentum when the Chiefs are down. Because Arsenal most times have flopped. Currently now they are plagued with injuries, like people like Cazorla, Sanchez, and have injuries. And even though they have some signings, but I don't think those signings can be able to cope with the pace of the Premiership within the short period. So I still believe Man City may win the league. I know that Pep Guardiola is coming to take over from Pellegrini if the news I'm hearing is anything to go by. But I think Man City under Pellegrini may like to do well before Pep Guardiola. Although I don't know whether he will be going to Chelsea or Man City, because people are saying he may go to Chelsea because Gusidik may not. We just stay after this season. He may not continue.
Going.
So other people are even speculating that he may go to Man U because Van Gaal is still have not given Man U that trophy which they needed badly. So yeah, but I think in the long, I see Man City winning the league. That's my contribution.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you very much. The Man City tried, trusted, and proven.
Yeah.
They've won it before, and people think they're going to. And I suppose the doubts again with Arsenal with in terms of their consistency.
Yeah.
Injury woes, isn't it?
Yeah,
lots of injuries.
Manchester City are facing the same thing. I mean, what do you think about this injury list, the growing injury list, and the lack of their leader, really?
We can definitely see the effects of it in the amount of unreasonable goals, so to say, that they've let in. I know you were mentioning some of the quality defenders. They are quality, but they're not company. Do you know what I mean? It's good. Company is definitely someone who knows how to read the game very well. He knows how to tell his players, you know what, you do this, you did that. You know, a lot of times I don't see the players in a way shouting at each other. You know, we see the passion in them, but we don't really see them kind of questioning each other. But in the likes of Kolo Toure, the likes of Company, they're always out there. They're always telling people, you know what, do this, do that, and that's when we see Manchester City defend and perform at their best. So they're definitely feeling the effect of him not being there. And the sooner he comes back and stays away from injury, the better definitely for them, for Manchester City.
Oh, interesting there. So in terms of, you know, just to round up over the title contenders, I mean, who do you think realistically has a chance? We're not going to talk about, you know, Manchester United or the other. I mean, I still think, you know, West Ham still have a look in. And I think Tottenham have a fantastic squad and they've done, you know, fantastically well. I mean, what are the chances of those just having a steal over the other teams?
I'd say West Ham. West Ham. I don't think they're gonna win it. I know. Maybe I don't even think they'll maintain. I don't even think so. That's it. I don't think they'll maintain the form that they have in order to get to the Champions League. With the likes of Carroll being out, it's not likely.
Overrated. I mean, in terms of where West Ham are really, they're where they are without Carroll. I think every time West Ham is brought up, people talk about Carroll, but he spends more time out than in. And I think it's
but
time to
it
give
shows
credit
you
to the other players,
it shows
surely.
you the quality of player he is. That even though he has all these injuries and he always comes back, people still, every time he comes back, we always say, oh, Carroll for the England team, because he comes back and he performs very well. So imagine he had been in there for the whole season without injury. So something that West Ham definitely need to consider if they want to get into the Champions League is keeping Carroll injury-free. They need to get down to the root cause of what's always causing the player, a big player like that, to always be on the sidelines. In terms of Tottenham, I can see them being in the Champions League this year. Definitely, they have the right environment to get in there, but in terms of winning it, I don't think so.
I mean, it was said a few weeks ago that they were unstoppable. They did a fantastic run where they were just playing amazing football, and then they dipped. And that's the Tottenham way, isn't it?
Yeah, they had a good form. They went 14, 15 games without losing a game. But even then, they were drawing too many games. Games that they should have won. I mean, they went to Newcastle and lost when Newcastle hadn't won in 8 games. And you get
complacency.
I think they don't know how to kill off games. They don't know how to go and beat the teams they're supposed to beat. They're picking up draws where they're supposed to win games, and I think that's where I mark off Tottenham.
And those 2 points that they're losing, they add up. They add up, because you know, if they had been picking up those 2 points where they could have been, they would definitely be at the top right now. You know.
Well, interesting. So in your top 4, give me the top 4, Manny.
I think the top 4, in your words, the top 4 is frozen. The top 4 will remain as it is.
It is.
I think it will just remain as it is. It might rearrange a little bit with the teams swapping around, but I think it will They will finish with Arsenal, Leicester, City, and Tottenham. United will miss out.
You want to call the top? You want to call the who's going to win it?
I think the top will be Arsenal. I think Arsenal, they're going to win it this year, and then we're going to hear about it for the next 10 years from all the Arsenal fans.
I'll go with City.
My Twitter's going to blow up because you know the Arsenal fans, they're very big on social media.
Some joy at last after the trophy drought for so many years, and all of a sudden, you know, Arsenal can get it. Well, the guys here think Arsenal can just get to the top, or at least the top four's frozen. Do you agree there? If you're freezing at home, do you want the Premier League to remain frozen? Do ring us, let us know. The numbers on the screen. Now we're going to talk about the biggest event that always happens in January in the football calendar, the FIFA Ballon d'Or. We had it, of course, this week, and the winners were announced. We heard the nominations late last year, and we've been waiting while people voted, and of course we finally got to know who the winners were. Let's see what happened at the FIFA Ballon d'Or Awards. Well, as we know, Lionel Messi won the FIFA Ballon d'Or. Surprise?
No surprise. He had a great season. He had a great season.
He had a great season, but Ronaldo had a better one than him, to be honest with you. I think it was Ronaldo scored 54 goals in 58 goals in 52 games. So, you know, going by those statistics, you would have thought that Ronaldo would go on to win it. But Messi is definitely, you know, apart from the great football he plays, he's just a pleasure to watch. He's just a pleasure to, you know, the kind of person that he is. Is someone that you'd like to see win that award. And Cristiano Ronaldo, I've heard that he's a nice person. I don't know the guy personally, but I've heard that he's a nice person. But the way he portrays himself, he's not someone that I would personally vote for if I was a football player.
And I suppose one of the things that, interestingly, you talked about Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a bit cocky, isn't he? I mean, he said that I like to be at the top, and I really enjoy being at the top. Lovely pictures there of Lionel Messi's son.
Did you see his son? He was like 5, Daddy.
Giving his dad a high five. That was amazing.
That was
beautiful
very good.
Pictures there. Very emotional moment for Lionel Messi. He missed out, of course, to Cristiano Ronaldo last year, and this year he had the chance to put things right, as many football writers said. He put things right, and of course we saw there Luis Enrique winning
Was he there to collect it?
He wasn't there to collect it. Somebody else collected it on his behalf, but he did fantastically well. So it was very, very interesting to see that, you know, they had Pep Guardiola, the Chile coach, as well as Luis Enrique. And do you think that was rightly so?
Yeah, I think as a coach, he won everything, really, to be honest. He picked up the treble. He's then gone on and won the World Club Championship. I mean, I don't know, Chile did fantastically well to be able to win the Copa America first time in years. They've managed to win it. I think as a coach on a club level, he won everything. Luis Enrique, and let's not forget, it was his first season. I know a lot of people say, oh, but you've got Messi playing for you, yeah. But
and then he had a nice, I mean, he walked into a nice team, didn't he?
He did.
He walked into a nice, he's not like, I mean, if you're giving people team of the year or manager of the year, I'll give someone like Claudio Ranieri, who dragged, you know, Leicester from the bottom of nowhere and has gone all the way up to the top. There was someone who was talking about the inequality of these. They're looking at those people who've won everything. Yeah. But what about those people who've taken a not so decent team to a decent level? They may not have won anything, but you know, they've gone way up the ladder. I mean, Leicester's gone from the very bottom to the top.
But they still haven't won anything yet.
Yeah. And you know, I think when you haven't
won anything about winning. I mean, because that's one of the things, if we ever look at the winners, then there are some people who are doing a fantastic job. Let's take Enrique, for instance. He walked into a team that has been good. I mean, the Barcelona team has been good from the days of Frank Rijkaard. It's been good for a very long time. So even Pep Guardiola couldn't really take the full credit because he walked into a very good Barcelona Barcelona side. The tradition of that being good is passed on from, you know, team to team. So if we take it back from the years of Frank Rijkaard, Pep Guardiola, and now Enrique, they've walked into a ready-made team.
Regardless, the manager still has to be credited, because if you look at it that way, then you can sort of argue that Rafa Benitez walked into an incredible team at Madrid.
Let's take the caller before we get on to that contentious point. Good morning, you're Loveworld TV.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. What's your name?
I'm Osamide.
Oh, hi, Osamide. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, about the award, I just want to quickly notify, you know, as Chisholm was saying, that Ronaldo's supposed to win it, but the problem was that Real Madrid won nothing. Barcelona won the treble and the World Club Cup, and that was always going to tip it to Messi to win the award. And again, he played very well in the semi-final. It was the deciding factor when they knocked out Bayern Munich in the semi-final. His performance in those two legs were magnificent. So that's the day I knew that he was going to win it, even though he had some injuries during the season. So as far as the coach of the year is concerned, as you've just been saying, it's a pity that they always look at the winners. Because when you look at what Ranieri did up to this very point, if Leicester finished the league fourth position, it's still a marvelous job. He will be a contender for coach of the year for next year.
Yes,
because
even if they finish 6th or 7th, I think it will be. I mean, Leicester are sitting above Chelsea. Yeah. They are sitting above Manchester United. You know, above Tottenham.
Look,
yes,
it's insane. When you look at the league at the moment, Leicester City are 9 points. Leicester City are 9 points of Manchester United. That is unheard of.
And you're talking about even teams like Liverpool, you're talking about, incredible teams, the so-called Premier League big boys. Leicester City are way ahead of them. And
exactly.
Is it always about, does the FIFA Ballon d'Or always have to look at the winners, or should we be thinking outside the mold a bit?
Exactly, because that's important. You have to also recognize managers that they don't have, they don't have the right materials. They don't have the best players. They don't have the very good players. Because, as you said, when you look at Barcelona, Enrique had Messi, had Suarez, had Neymar. It's very easy to win things because, as I said before, it all depends on the players on the pitch. If you have good players, world-class players, you are always going to win things. And that is what Guardiola will find out. When it comes to Manchester City next season, he will have his work called out because just as in Bayern Munich, it won't have Messi. In Manchester City, it won't have Messi. So he has to do with all those players that are there now and deal with the intensity of the league. Because I remember Alex Ferguson once said that playing an away match in the Premier League is like a civil war. It's like fighting a civil war. There's no other league like that. So people say, oh, Guardiola is going to find it easy. This is his first test, as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to Manchester City next season, this is going to be Guardiola's first test as a manager. Because if we see everything that where he has been, it has been roller coaster. He's a world-class manager. I don't take it away from him. But we will find out when we get to the Premier League what he's going to do. So, if I have voted, I would have given it to the Chile manager. Because Chile won the Copa America for the 4th time in more than 100 years.
And that's the kind of achievement we're talking about.
Exactly.
Those people who take people from the bottom, from nothing, and despite all odds, against resources and what have you. And if you, look at Barcelona. Barcelona has everything they need.
The odds against Chile.
Yes.
The odds against Chile in that Copa America final was huge. That in that final, Argentina was going to win it. Because we all know Argentina have world-class players. But they defeated Messi, they defeated all those Di Maria, all those world-class players in Argentina to win that cup. So that he would have been the one to be the coach of the year. Not Enrique, because he won all those things. He won it because of the players. So that's what they have to be looking at. You don't just look at the winners. Look at people that have done the extraordinary things. Things that were Leicester was first favorite to go down. Look at where they are now. Chile was never given a chance, even though they were playing at home. They lost. They were going to lose.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Osamide. Interesting thoughts there. And basically, when we think about the Enrique position, and he's talking about the Chile coach, he's saying it should have gone to the Chile coach and not necessarily to Enrique, because he won against all odds. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about. We're talking about shortly before the break, and you had some interesting thoughts.
I mean, football is about winning. So if you can't reward a manager just won everything that he could possibly win in a club position, then where else do you want to reward the manager for?
Well, for effort. You want to effort against all odds. And you know what? When we start recognizing people for giving that effort, they'll start getting to the top and getting to be winners. Mix it up. Don't just say the winners are the ones that are going to win, because there are people who are doing some fantastic work, you know, with teams that are not winning. Yeah. But if you're going to take a team from, say, 14th position, or in the case of Leicester, where were they? 17th position, and they're sitting joint top. That's admirable.
The only place you get rewarded for effort is primary school. Really, you don't. That's one thing one of my mentors taught me. You don't get rewarded for effort in the real world. And also, we need to consider the fact that football nowadays, apart from winning, is about money. And these kind of events, they're in place in order to raise awareness of the game, in order to draw more funding to it. And you know, say for example, if we only had Claudio Ranieri, the Chile coach, as the manager of the year, we would have quite a lot of trouble. We would have quite a lot of trouble drawing in viewers. Do you know what I mean? So it would have been quite an issue just focusing on those teams who had done the minimal, who hadn't won the Champions League, who hadn't won the World Cup. You know, so it's something that we definitely need to consider when we're talking about, or why are the smaller people not considered? You know, so it's definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, because managers have walked into Barcelona dressing room and not managed to get the results that they have, that Luis Enrique managed to get. He walked into Barcelona dressing room. He has to be rewarded. That was his first season.
Well, so has, I mean, every manager who's walked into the Barcelona dressing room has got that kind of results. That's why Barcelona
are 2 years without a trophy.
But they were winning other things, and they were right at the top. We're not talking about a Chelsea situation where you suddenly go from the top to obscurity and no one wants to talk about you or know you. We're talking about people who may not have been winning the trophies they wanted to win. They were winning something. They've never gone without a trophy in their cabinet for a single year. They were winning other things, but they were not winning what they wanted to win.
They were not top of we're not top of the club.
Second.
They were not.
Second.
They got knocked out of the Champions League semi-final twice.
Yes.
I mean,
and semi-final. Now talking about
semi-final
that,
3 years in a row.
Let's talk about the FIFA, the team of the year that they had. Again, disappointment, and I remember just thinking, oh God, we go over the perennial question of, you know, why aren't English league players good enough to get into this league? No English player, you know, good on Paul Pogba to make it. He was the only one from Serie A to make it in. And you just, I mean, because Paul Pogba was there, made me think that, okay, it's not only just a Spanish affair. It means that people can get in. It is possible. Now, let's talk about this. We talk about it every year, and we have a theory every year. The newspapers talk about it. Everybody talks about it. Why can't the English teams, the English players, put a foot in there?
You know, the English league has done a good job in marketing itself as the world's best league, but I think as time has gone on, people have gone on to see that it's not the world's best league; it's the world's most competitive league. And we you know, when they're making the consideration as to, you know, who to put in the world 11, the world team 11, they take into consideration who is most visible, who are people more aware of, and people are more aware of the Barcelona teams, the Real Madrids, the Paul Pogbas. But then when it comes to the Premier League, they could have done a good job in putting Harry Kane in there. But how many people really know about Harry Kane? You know, he would have been like, who's this guy? You know, so it's really a lot of I believe it's quite a lot of politics. It's about, you know, just raising the most awareness of the FIFA game, and because I think the FIFA 11 they're made available in the FIFA game, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, that's all these kind of things. I think are things that I think they take into thought when they're coming up with these lists, and yeah.
I think World 11. I mean, Harry Kane probably should have got into the World 11, but then again, he's a striker. You know, his position. Who is he gonna? Is he better than Messi? Is he better than Ronaldo? Is he better than Neymar? You won't replace him with any of those three players. I mean, Luis Suarez.
Well, interesting there. We've just had breaking news that the Russian Athletics Federation have just appointed a new head, and at the moment we will be hearing more about this on Sports Recap on Monday. So make sure that you tune in if you want to hear about the fallout from the Russian Athletics Federation. We know that they've been plagued with doping allegations, and they've just appointed a new head. Let's see what the new game plan is. We know that they're in a chaotic situation at the moment. Well, their world has been thrown in tatters after the doping allegations. They've been suspended for a considerable amount of time, and let's see what plans they have and what this new head plans to bring to the fore. Now we'll be wrapping up the program. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Now, in terms of today's matches, do you want to call up any matches that you think are going to? Who are the winners and losers this week? Well,
we've got Chelsea going to Chelsea hosting Everton. I think Everton probably might be able to nick a draw or win. I don't see Chelsea winning. That's going to be too tough. Well, good sitting said they're in the relegation battle, so that might be confirmed in this match. And
I think we might see an upset in the Manchester City and Crystal Palace game. You know, Crystal Palace, I think we can see them making things harder for Manchester City. If
Champions League?
No, Palace? No. The top four will stay as it is. Yeah. The top four will stay as it is. Palace will do well to get into the top 6.
Leicester?
Leicester, I think so. I really think so. If they don't go on to win it, if they don't go on to win it, or Arsenal don't go on to win it, I think they'll definitely go on to make the Champions League.
Yes. Well, with that, we bring the program to a close. Gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Have a sport-filled week.
Oh, thank you.
And the same to you at home. Thank you so much for participating and watching. We're back on Monday with Sports Recap, where you'll be hearing more about that story that just broke on the Russian Federation. Do tune in. Sports Recap is at 4 p.m. on Mondays, and of course we'll be back with you on Saturday, going over the week's events, the highlights, the lowlights of the week. So we'll be talking about those. Do tune in. In the meantime, stay tuned to Loveworld. God bless you, and see you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.